Welcoming you to the Leela podcast, a place where you can discover all things Osho Leela. You'll get to meet the community, learn about community life, and listen in as we share about our upcoming events and workshops from the perspective of the facilitators and the attendees, supporting you to find your way to Leela. Hello and welcome to the Leela podcast. Today we have a wonderful guest. His name is Alon. Welcome, Alon, to the Leela podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Lovely to have you. A little bit about Alon. So Alon is a long-term friend of Osho Leela. He is an artist, he is a facilitator, and many, many more strings to the bow, I believe. So we're going to delve into that a little bit, Alon, if that's okay. And yeah, more recently you've been here more frequently, and you're offering workshops and retreats. We'll kind of go into that a bit later. But yeah, it's just really lovely to have you. And one of the things that Alon for me brings is playfulness, the clowning, and I've worn my dungarees for the occasion because I'm like, this is what brings me into my kind of like inner playfulness.
Yeah.
I notice when I dance in dungarees, it's much more playful. So I wore those especially because I know that's one of your strengths and one of the things that you bring to the world. So yeah, I'd just like to say welcome, and yeah, welcoming you to share a little bit about yourself and your journey to Leela. Let's start there. Yeah.
God. Thank you. It's very beautiful. Almost feel like being silent and just sitting with all that because it was so deep, and I like really, really dug how you frame me like to the audience, you know.
It's just one perception, right? One projection.
Beautiful. Well, I have a long-term connection to Osho. So as a young man, I spent a year. I basically did an MA in personal growth at the Osho Ashram in India.
Wow.
At the age of 23. And the kind of cool little story around that is when I was 21, I flew out the backseat of a convertible, ended up in hospital for 2 months.
Wow. With
4 broken limbs. But it was, and I'm bionic now, but it was the insurance money that I got from that car accident that enabled me not to follow the typical North London Jewish boy dream of their parents to become an accountant. My dad is still waiting. And I instead became a full-blown hippie.
Wow.
So I spent a year in Pune, and I spent all that money on groups and workshops and trainings. And it's so weird to see that every single group I did in Pune eventually has become some sort of bush or plant in the life that is unfolding for me now. So all the different workshops I'm teaching, my first 3 groups were art, comedy, drumming.
Yeah. And
then I did massage, and I was a body worker for many years. So
wow.
It's so weird. You know, sometimes you like to think you're in charge of your life, but the older I get, the more I am absolutely certain it's out of my hands. So
totally. When you say that, and like when I feel into that, like it's like the trust, right? Just total trust. It's not actually in our hands. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's supposed to happen.
Yeah.
It feels so light to me. It's like, oh yeah.
It takes some pressure off because, and I don't mean this patronising, but you're younger than me, but until my early 40s, I was so feeling like, no, I can do anything. I can be anyone. I can be this guy, be Batman, Superman, Robin, you know, like I thought I could just have so much agency. And then the older I've got, yeah.
Sorry.
No, keep going. Do it again. Take 2.
Batman.
Pretty good. You could audition for that. I don't know what I was saying. What was I saying? Sorry. Now we're doing Batman outtakes, so if you want to see more, stay tuned. I think I was just rabbiting on about the fact that it was only in my 40s where my dad always used to say to me that like life decides. Even though my dad is sort of a businessman, he's really a Taoist. He's always said to me, I always used to ask him questions as a young man, and he'd go, I don't know. And it would irritate me. But now I understand. He's like surrendering and he's waiting to be shown. Wow. And gone off on a bit of a tangent here, but you were talking about trust, and it's out of our hands, and it's true. It's come to me later in life, and that's also kind of where the clowning fits in, because clowning for me is just a way to embrace not knowing, and it's okay to just I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's very freeing, actually, isn't it? Just that kind of like, I don't know the answer.
I don't know. Like, how hard is that to say?
It's
not
very
easy.
hard,
It's
especially when you've been conditioned to.
Yeah.
I know the answer.
I'm so clever. I have the answer to everything and the 3 things you haven't asked me yet. You know,
that's
like.
it. Yeah. I know that one really deeply.
Do you?
It's like I should know all the answers.
Really?
So I won't do it until
Okay.
I know all the answers.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you have like a strong upbringing with all of that, or?
Yeah, I was the one who knew.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I was the one who knew. So and that's what I also put on myself as well, right? So it's like a.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it? When I kind of like first saw like that you did clowning, the thing that comes to me is like.
Yeah.
And it's not because I'm scared of clowns, so I know that's a very real thing for people. But it's because you have to be silly and playful, and it's not productive.
Not productive.
And you know, like, surely that must be a waste of time, just being in joy.
I'm going to add these to my website. Silly, unproductive, and a waste of time. Sign here.
But that's the conditioning part.
Wow.
Because it's like, oh no, we've got more important ways of doing healing, and better, you know, more important things to do. Yeah. And I know that's not just me. Hopefully, it's not just me. Just let me know that it's not just me. Yeah. But yeah, and it's like there's this kind of resistance because, and I also like know that that's the thread to follow. When there's that resistance, right? It's like, yeah, that's probably going to help me.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
Yeah. So it's interesting. Yeah.
What it brings up.
What it brings up, because I really noticed it. I was like, oh, but yeah, it's probably actually going to be really good to do some clowning.
Well, it's not for everyone. A lot of people are allergic to it, and I'll say in a minute a bit about my angle, but.
Yeah.
The worldly view of clowning, the red nose, and what else? The makeup, and then there's the whole like dodgy like kiddie fiddling thing probably out there as a connotation. Yeah. Nothing to do with me, right? I had none of that. Yeah, I got nothing to do with them people. They're not like me. I've never wanted to be a clown. I've had a very strong journey with comedy and humour. I did a lot of my own comedy and went to clowning workshops just to build a muscle. Because in clowning, you basically don't plan, and you stand up and you watch, wait and see. And I've accidentally found clowning to be a healing pathway. I see myself being more and more clown-like, but I don't go out there. I don't call myself a clown to other people. And what I've ended up labeling what I do with clowning as clown healing, precisely because of what you've just hinted at. It happens to be a backdoor into all these things that are so-called important on the spiritual path, like letting go, surrender, trust, vulnerability, being in the moment, being in your body, getting out your head. Yeah. It's the fucking most fun way to do all that shit. I was a yoga teacher for 25 years. Man, that shit gets boring. Stand up straight, watch your anus contract, and breathe slowly. Now I'm just going to do that 5 times a day. And be bored out of my mind. You know, yoga is brilliant.
Is that how you talk?
Yeah, and I talk like this. But you know, you had to be to embody a certain. There was a. Yeah. I love yoga, and without yoga, I'm nothing. But it's not silly, playful, and joyous in Hatha yoga teaching. So my approach to clowning is based around my journey with yoga and the way I structure and what I teach. It's like, I call it emotional yoga. It's a practice to free the body, free the mind, open the emotions, liberate the voice, get the face being silly, and then we free our energy. And it feels very parallel to what the yogis were trying to do with Hatha yoga and Bhakti yoga, and I think it's called Jnana yoga and Mangana yoga, and whichever one. They're trying to liberate different molecules of the being so that the energy rises, that we can, they would say, connect to God and be one with the whole. With the clowning, it's a bit more Taoist. You just surrender so that you drop and go with the flow more easily.
Mm.
It's a part, for me, it's very Taoist. It's a pathway into experiencing, being on your surfboard, wobbling left, wobbling right, leaning back, going forward, and practicing the not knowing and the non-fixedness. I was never into Tai Chi, but I see, oh, that's what's happening in a clown scene. We're wobbling and we're just learning to just be resolute. So if I stay like that, it doesn't, and I fall over, and then that's no worse than standing up. So it's a very Tai Chi kind of practice.
Wow.
Don't know how I got down that rabbit hole, but that was just, hope that was useful for someone out there. Mum, did you like that?
Do you find that, like, you, without it being labelled or wearing the clothes, you are just a clown?
Well, it's coming at through having done several years of clowning now. I can see it, and when we film videos together, and I do stuff with my son as well, like I can really see that it's becoming more into my body. But for the previous years before I went to clowning, I was very busy being a character comedian. So I had all these different characters, and I was much more in the kind of acting energy. I was somebody else, and this all came out of being bored as a yoga teacher. So I was the yoga teacher, and I had to be like spiritual as fuck. And then this character came out my mouth, and he was called, and it started with an energy. His name was Trev the Yogic Builder, and he smoked fags, drank beer, went down a pub, ogled birds, and loved a footy. And it was like all these other energies that I was probably suppressing to be Mr. Four Chakras and higher. You know, like, I'm so fucking pure, you know, like, look at me. You know, I'm so upright. My asana is just like really, really a high level. And down there was still in the basement was some like cruder aspect that still had lust and greed and envy and jealousy and loads of anger. And that could come out in, so I was doing these characters, the others, another one was Reiki Run, East End Bouncer to Spiritual Leela. A violent form of Reiki, and there was another one which was, I'm still psychoanalyzing, was called El Guru. He was a Colombian drug lord turned cult leader, and he was basically this exploration of spiritual ego that I saw in all the cult leaders I followed, and in my own little fantasy world. Oh, I'm a yoga teacher. Oh, yeah, I can. You know how the power starts flowing through, the energy, the chi, and then the ego comes with it. Like the spiritual. So back then, I saw myself much more as a character comedian. Harry Enfield, I don't know if it was before your time.
No, Harry Enfield.
He was my god, and it was an issue for me at the time. But I went to the same school as Sacha Baron Cohen, and I watched him become super famous, doing all these characters like and Ali G and that. That wasn't Ali G's accent, but it's like not far off in it. I went to a school where lots of people just ended up being other people. Like comedically, Matt Lucas from Little Britain went to my school.
Oh wow!
So somehow
what was that all about? Like,
what is that all about? I don't know.
Same school.
All from the same school. I don't know what. I mean, there's probably only 3 or 4 of us, but and like they are who they are, you know. But it was like the same disease befell me. I think it was because you don't want to be yourself and maybe want to be other people. I've no idea. So. Those I don't do so much anymore, but and now the clowning stumbled along, and it's much purer, it's much calmer. Those things have to be more polished acts and have a script and have a structure and I don't know. There's something. I was doing it for the outer performance. It's great fun. I think acting is just a brilliant thing just to do to get to know yourself. It's like the Promper's word is called self-actualization, baby. You can spell that with a C and a T. No, but it's something to do with like you play out all, it's like psychodrama, you play out all these different, so I was playing out all these energies that I wasn't living in real life. In life I was like, very nice, I'm the people pleaser, hi, I wouldn't threaten anybody, I was quiet and calm and sweet. And then all these characters I was playing were like, fuck off. Is that alright to swear, by the way? They were very yang and aggressive and cathartic. Clowning now feels like, sorry if I spelled it, clowning seems to be a much softer way, and it feels like vulnerability is where we need to go. Those of us on a healing journey, at some point we find out, oh shit, I've got to feel all this. let the tears out, and I'm a much happier person now than I was back then. Then I think I was splitting into different personas. I had a lot of therapy, and this is a word I learned from the therapist. Like he said to me on day one, "Oh yeah, you have a split there in your psyche. You know, you have the parts that you favor and you want to show to the world that you are super capable and brilliant. But down in the basement is this weak, inadequate, inferior part that you're hiding." He wasn't German, but it just sounds more authoritative, isn't it? When
You sound like a psychoanalyst.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So clown. So now. And my journey with clowning came after a long therapy, and during a long therapy, I was just doing it on the side because I stopped performing, I stopped chasing the attention and the love that I never got from my dad as a 2-year-old, that I was secretly, love me, people, just love me. I need this love and adoration, you know, the inner 2-year-old that never got the attention. The therapist once said to me, because I talked to him about this desire for fame I had, he goes, wow, one day it just popped in his head, he went, you weren't famous enough in your own family. And it was like, God.
Didn't feel seen.
So I am, really, and that's how many other people have that. And I don't know what we're supposed to be talking about, but I come back to a clown scene. We hold the space very carefully and slowly for people to be warmed up, nourished, happy clappy in their silliness. And then when a so-called clown scene happens, we are not audience, we're witnesses, and people are in front of, it's still like a sharing circle, but a very zany one, and a space where we hold the space for people to be witnessed in whatever comes up. It's very anarchic and crazy, and you can't predict what will arise. But basically, we're becoming visible in a very compassionate way. And if somebody shits on the floor or cries or does a one finger push up, it's not the point. And they may entertain us, or they may be completely boring, and it's not better or worse. Somehow it feels like a much healthier way of, I don't know what I'm trying to say. We come together.
The healing journey.
Yeah.
Everything.
That we're the safe group of people. We hold this space where we can be us. We can show our weirdness and our vulnerability and our authenticity, even if my authenticity is I'm a bit. And there's this very incapable part of me as well. That is. How often do you show that to people? How can you show people that I don't know the words these days that I would like to use are probably not very PC, but I'll just send it telepathically. And those two, where I really can't, I'm not functional. And if something relaxes when it is allowed to be there, it changes something in the inner chemistry. Not in that moment, like a day or a week. Later you start to notice, I'm not so uptight. Something just...
You've let something go.
Let it go, or allowed it to almost... You've let go of the repressing of it, almost, and the stuffing it down. Go away, you inferior thing. And it's more like, it came to the beach and it's sunbathing with us.
You've made friends with it.
Something like that. It's allowing.
Wow, beautiful. And it sounds like all of those pieces, though, the characters, allowing that energy that was there, that was being suppressed, was part of the journey. Would you say that you wouldn't have done that, like looking back, or would you say that's been a big part of the journey as well?
Doing the characters, you mean?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, cool.
It was massively... Because I grew up very repressed.
Yeah.
I was a very repressed, shy, introverted boy, bullied at school. My mum was very strict. My education was very strict. So I didn't know me, and I didn't get to express myself. So acting out... you see what I did there? Acting out, it's just, it brings up all this stuff and it lets the energies out. And I got into all this character stuff shortly after my time in Pune, where all day long you're catharting, you're doing primal screaming, you're being like a crazy ape, and you're very free, you're very liberated, you're very unsuppressed. So I found I saw the catharsis of Pune therapy and acting as absolutely two halves of the same coin.
Yeah.
It was so natural. I never did a single acting workshop in my life. It just feels like you unplug emotions in therapy, and then an actor just channels that emotion in a certain shape, size, and format. And so long as you're being authentic, it becomes believable and real. That's my school of acting. It's the 1 minute view that it's just emotional access and share the emotions. And I don't know if that's true or not. It's just how it feels.
Yeah,
feels for me. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've definitely been on all the modalities I work with. They're all ways to just free up this energy that was really blocked, constipated.
Yeah.
Jamie Cato, I saw him use the word, so emotionally constipated. Like that's very resonant.
Yeah, that's a lot of the world.
It's like the whole. It's all of us.
Yeah, right. Until we get that freedom and the permission slip.
Yeah.
It feels like clowning is a bit of a permission slip as well.
Completely
right?
and utterly. You can be. It is that, yeah. The freedom, and it's secretly through the freedom to fail that it does its magic. So in a classical clown scene, and if you think of Jerry Lewis, Buster Keaton, Charlie Chaplin, the Marx Brothers, all these twats are just faffing about and things are going wrong. So clowning theatrically is a world where failure happens and mishaps. When we consciously explore that in a clown lab, what it does to the inner being that is perfectionistic and controlling and likes to be right, is, oh my God, really? I can just like lie around. Like my clown would do this interview like that, or something like that.
You can stay like that.
Yeah, it doesn't want to do. I don't do anal on the first video. Sorry. Paywall.
It's okay.
Too soon. Yeah. It's a permission to just be anything, and I see. I don't sort of go to somatic bodywork workshop, but I see nowadays a lot of people talking about embodiment somatic workshops where you let the body take shapes that it needs to. And what I see showing up in clowning often is when people relax into themselves, their body takes positions that are beautiful, like true, weird, and often very funny. And if that even happens in a scene or sometimes in an exercise with a group, there's one exercise we do called napping, usually after lunch. Like, when you go into a workshop.
That's good.
Yeah.
I'm all up for it now.
Okay. Like you've come back from lunch and like, oh God, what's he going to make me do now? And like, I go, anybody feeling a bit tired? I go, okay. They all go, yeah. And they go, okay, you're just going to find a spot in the room where you're just looking to have that perfect nap, and it's just get really cozy and like you just sort of curl up, and like make it, something you need. And you drop in, you start to relax. But after like about 15-20 seconds, like you just feel, oh, it's just not quite right. It's just not quite the one. Oh, and maybe there's somebody over there. Oh, maybe that's the one. And people like go on this journey around the room for about 20 minutes, napping in the weirdest, strangest positions, and you start to see that they do drop.
Yeah.
There's another exercise where we take a chair, and the instruction to the human is, you're an alien that's landed on space, and this is an object you can sit in, but the real human, knows is not going to sit in the official way. Yeah. And you see people exploring this object, and I've done that game so many times, and it's still original, unique, bizarre, weird ways of being with a chair happen, and it's just like a thing of beauty. People just like, can't remember on a couch now, but just it's almost like I've seen people like the chair on their head, or like, anyway, you have to come and see, you have to try it.
I feel like I'm part of it now.
Yeah, you are. You're like,
I can totally, get more comfortable.
So it's very somatic work, and one of my students recently, he got something which I've written down in my notes, but he said, wow, when I'm clowning, I'm like 50% in my body, like almost 50% in my emotions, and very little in my mind. And I had written down 50% body, 40% emotion, 10% mind.
Yeah, wow.
And most of our life, what are we? 40% mind. I don't even know what the ratios are, but the mind has a much more dominant leading edge, doesn't it?
Yeah, mostly we're living in the head, right?
Yeah, and my sannyas name, weirdly, Aman, sorry about this, I'm just like doing a shimmy, means no mind.
Oh, wow, great.
Yeah, I hadn't even made that connection. Maybe that's why I'm doing clowning. Oh, sure, you sent me the name, and now I'm understanding. 30-something years later.
Yeah.
Really? Goosebumps.
Oh, now I get it.
Oh, now I get it. Clowning is a time to
Yeah, no mind.
go a bit lobotomy.
Yeah.
But in a beautiful way.
Yeah, it sounds beautiful, and it sounds to me that it's, again, freedom. Right?
Freedom,
Total
exactly.
freedom, and it's...
You've said it.
No expectations and no way, no shoulds and no perfection, and I can feel in the body, it's like a kind of,
It's you have hit the nail on the head, and I never really announce it in class, because what's worse than just going, this will do, no over promising, but actually it is a path of liberation. And again, goes back to the life I spent as a yoga teacher. When you go to the depths of what yoga is, they call it moksha, which means liberation or freedom. It's designed to bring the aspirant to a state of union with the whole. All the energies have opened up, and they experience freedom. Jivan Mukti is another description of the realized, or the, I don't like the language because it means like they've arrived somewhere, the liberated soul, but it's this feeling of freedom. And I think that's what I've been busy with my whole life, because I have felt so unfree. I have felt so restricted and imprisoned and burdened and locked in and jailed. Yeah, emotionally speaking, it's
totally. I can totally resonate.
Really?
Yeah, of course. And it's what you said earlier about, like, it filters out then, not in the moment, but days later, weeks later.
Days.
And what I love about the journey of healing is it kind of sneaks up on you, and it's like, I don't feel like that anymore, and I can use my voice a bit clearer, and I feel more somehow steady in the body, or like grounded in the body, or whatever it is, and it's the kind of the rewiring, isn't it?
It's
rewiring of the brain, and just because you've released
you're so
all
on
these things, and the muscles feel less tight, and it's amazing that
I'm just like getting a whole hit as you're saying that, because there's all this swanky language out there like neuroplasticity and right and left brain balance, and
I'm not in that mode today.
No, me either. I don't even know what it means, like it means something, but but actually when I think about it, all the things I've ever been into, yoga, clowning, drumming, they all trying to make the hemispheres more balanced, and the clowning certainly is taking the control of the left brain and unlocking it and softening it and letting this just pool a little bit and be a bit more soft. Because I think and there's no judgment about it, life, busyness, survival, there's nothing wrong with control at times. Like, look at this organization that we live in here. It needs a massive amount of structure to operate. It can't fall apart. You need structure in life and control. This is not to say live your life like a twat, just creating anarchy wherever you go. It's just saying this is your internal regulation system to just relax you, and maybe on a rare occasion approach a task in a more relaxed way. Not every time, no gun to the head, do live like this or else. Clown police. Just softening the brain. So thank you, you've helped me see, wow, what we're doing. I forgot what it is, but whatever it was really good. It's very good. That thing you said.
Sometimes something comes
just
out.
So it's very, I can see, you're right. You're linked in.
Totally aligned.
Aligned, man. Your light chakra's really up there today. If you were sitting around thinking, Louise, it's really vibrating at a high frequency. You should try this.
I notice actually when there is this kind of like, when you are kind of like covering up the chakras, and there is this like, there's more resonance, and there's more playfulness comes through, isn't it?
Right.
And it is more like, like I get into kind of like quite high states in
Do
that
you?
sense, you know,
Okay.
through
Happy.
ecstatic.
Yeah. Dance.
Ecstatic dance
Yeah.
is definitely my number one
Okay.
one way, and yeah, even just like having done some like maybe it's just like loving my inner child or something, and then kind of like bringing out like I bring my inner child out to play quite a lot of the time, and I'm quite playful in the house, in the main house, in the offices, and I'll like peek around the corner at Priya in the booking office, and I'll kind of do this thing where I could probably do it here.
Yeah.
Like I'll go to the door and I'm like, yeah. She just looks at me and yeah, so that's my way, I guess. Of
the same thing.
I'm
Totally.
already a clown,
exactly.
Right?
That's.
Am I already a clown?
Well, the clown to me is bringing your inner child forward.
That's it. Yeah.
And with a certain structured pathway, allowing it to flow. You know, clowning is a craft, like 5 rhythms is a craft, or whatever. Following certain tubes or tunnels, but it's all inner child based. It is freeing the inner child.
Yeah. And it is. It's that little, like you said, the kind of whatever the journey is. When you're a kid, I was a very quiet child.
Okay.
Very quiet. I always remember like walking into school in being like 11 into senior school.
Yeah.
Just speak to, in my head, just speak to everyone, just speak to people, just speak to people. And I didn't. I didn't. And I was just like totally overwhelmed, totally felt uncomfortable, and was just like the quiet, you know, then it was like, oh, she's quiet.
Yeah.
She's quiet. She's the good girl. She's the quiet one. And inside, there was a desire to be a dancer, desire to be an actor.
Right.
To,
really?
to,
Beautiful.
To go on and do the theatre and stuff. And it just didn't, it never happened because I was too scared.
Yeah.
Too scared, you know.
Apparently that's quite a common thing for actors, that they're, not all, but some were very shy. I even heard it about Laurence Olivier or something, apparently.
Really?
That to be, because you have to then seek the release.
Yeah.
You're so trapped and introverted. Like, maybe if you're just everyday outgoing person, what do I need to do acting? You don't go looking, hunting for some otherness, some other place. I don't know.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, when there's that extreme.
I don't.
Right?
Yeah, I can't
Maybe.
Generalise, but I think for me it's true, and it sounds identical with what you're saying.
I feel so.
The longing.
And I've kind of explored it like with improv and stuff like that, because it's like, oh my god, this feels so good because it's so liberating.
So liberating.
You know? It's so freeing, and it activates that part, which is joy.
Joy, exactly.
Yeah, total joy.
Yeah.
So.
We're on the same page. Print it.
Got it. Yay. I know you're an artist as well, and I know you're an artist because the art is everywhere at Osho Leela. By the way, he's just like, it came in and then it never left.
Yeah.
And now it's like, Elon, it's everywhere.
Subliminal programming.
Yeah, totally.
Subliminal programming.
Yeah.
I don't know what program is.
I know. Yeah, it's just a little reminder. You're part of our community.
Wow. No, I'm truly honoured.
Yeah, and it's beautiful. It's really beautiful, and like quite that, you know, there's some which is quite tantric.
Okay.
And then there's some which is, I mean, I love the sun that we have.
Everybody seems to love the sun. Yeah.
The sun is beautiful.
Yeah.
And what's your journey with the art?
Oh my God! I mean, this is a whole nother podcast, but maybe we do a briefer version.
Yeah.
In Pune in 1990, I did a painting course called Zen and the Art of Oil Painting.
Oh.
We were given 2 canvases for 4 days. And the first day, just show us how to paint, and really slowly, and everybody's doing a Matisse and a Rembrandt and like sort of like finicky.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the day, the teacher goes, right, stand up, put some techno on for 5 minutes. Now go back and paint over everything you've just done. And like everyone's like,
I can feel it. It's like,
and the next day, you won't do that again. Like halfway through the second day, we're going to meditate for 10 minutes. Now pour water or whatever. It couldn't have been water because it was oil paint, but totally. So by day 3, but the 4th or 5th time this had happened, something shifted in many of us, and I can certainly speak for myself. Like the controlling left brain knew it was fucked. And by the end of that group, I maybe had made 20 different paintings on my 2 canvases. And when I was like action painting, freestyle painting, what was coming through in 5, 10, 20, 30 minutes was so much bigger and bolder than what the left brain could design and prepare for.
Wow.
So the group was a breakthrough. then I carried on painting in my little flat in Pune, just for myself because it was nice. And a friend of mine came around one day, and hi Santosh, he is an artist. And he walked in, and he spent 20 minutes just going, wow. And he was art critiquing my art, and it was in a very positive way. I didn't really know.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, that's interesting. So I did a few more. Came back to London. I popped back for my sister's wedding during my stay in Pune, and just showed my parents. They had modern art prints up. And they said, oh, wow, that's nice. Take it down to the print shop while you get it framed.
Yeah.
And the guy in the print shop goes, wow, these are good. Could you do 2 for the window? And I'm like, I'll pay you 200 quid.
Ah!
Fucking hell, mate. I'm down with this shit. You know. So life suddenly started going, you want to be an artist? You want to be an artist? And then for the next 5 years, I thought, wow. I mean, if I can get away with this, what a way to make a living. And like my sister, I gave one for her wedding present, and then one of her friends said, oh, that painting your brother did. And I called, so my full name from birth is Neil Alon Friedman, and my artistic name was Alon Free. So it's like very, and going back to freedom.
Yeah.
So I called my painting, oh, is that an Alon Free? Is that an Alon Free? You know, like it had a catchy name.
Yeah.
And like sort of created this little sort of mini cult of myself as an artist that others, you know, my family sort of bought into. And spent the next 4 or 5 years diligently making art, doing shows. I lived in Mexico for a year, and then New York for 2 years. And I lived the attempted dream to be an artist, making it in New York. And it was the most fun, really beautiful place I ever lived. The only problem, there's like about 2 million other mofos doing the same thing. And like, I didn't speak the art language. I was just painting art from the heart. Like just freedom art, you know, I was freeing my inner energy through paint.
Yeah, wow.
You know, big colourful, you've seen, I don't know if you remember in the marquee in the summer, the big splashy stuff, giant canvases where you're chucking the paint around. So again, it's a method of self-actualizing. And I lived the dream for a while. I sold art, but I never made enough money to fully do that as an artist. But boy, did I produce a lot of art. And a lot of it had been in the cupboard. And then I was so blessed that Ranjana saw one of my paintings on Zoom when she was talking to Amura, either at my house or here. And she said, wow, we have to have that in the Tanjira. And that's how my art got into Osho Leela through Ranjana. I had a cosmic yoni painting that I'd done, which was never really appropriate to hang anywhere else. And that's how it came to be. Ranjana brought it here more for the Intimacy Festival, and then kept it up for Bava's Festival. I mean, I took over, mate. I know.
He's everywhere. He's every room now.
But basically, what I would say about my why, and I'm totally, you know, if people say that's it, take it down, I can't stand the shit. Fine, but this art is beyond me. It's Pune energy. It's Osho energy. It's art from the heart. Most of these designs I never planned. Like often I'll sit and go, okay, I'm going to do that, and it will come out as that.
That's so interesting because it reminds me of like when I did art at school.
Okay.
And my art GCSE, I remember sitting there, and I just had this. I didn't have no plan. You know, you're supposed to plan to get your grades. Yeah. Like, so I got like a C or a D because I didn't plan, and I basically had a little piece of clay, and it's this triangle little piece, and I was like, that looks like a bee sting.
Okay.
I'm gonna make a bee.
Yeah.
So then I made this bee, you know, out of clay or whatever.
Wow.
And I loved it.
Yeah.
You know, because it was just in the moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, they didn't appreciate it because
you've got to do and
because you have to like, yeah. I think that was the reason anyway. Maybe it was just my perception that it was great, but it was.
No, it is because creativity is not. I believe anybody can be an artist. Yeah. It is intrinsic. It is innate. You just. Life is a creative, you know, I'm paraphrasing Osho, but life is a creative process, constantly recreating. To be creative is to be alive, to be artistic. It's not a big deal. It's like the world and the art world has all its standards and labels and judgments, and that's worth 10 million quid, and it looks like a 4-year-old did it, and a masterpiece done by some hippie or outsider artist is not even regarded as art because it's blah blah blue blue.
Doesn't fit into the criteria of.
Yeah, my son is doing an art degree at the moment, and he has to write essays about stuff. I mean, he's enjoying it,
Yeah.
but I just see like how he has to go into his head to justify
Yeah.
before, during, and after.
Yeah.
But to me, and what I, if it's all right to say, want to share with others. God, if it can happen to me, it can happen to anybody. Like I was never meant to be an artist. I was meant to be an accountant.
Yeah. Well, we are, we are all of it, aren't we? And I always say this to my nieces, like, we are artists, you are a singer, you are a dancer, you're all of these things, and it's only conditioning that, and other people that have said, that you have to follow this structure in order to do this, but you are already it.
It's archetypally inbuilt, I think.
You're already it. You're all of those things. We're already drummers,
Yeah.
Like, we are already it.
Yeah, because I think it's like archetypes live in us that we activate and then we have to work with. It's not like you turn out and you produce something amazing in any creative field just like that. I love also what's the word, where you just keep working at something over and over the years, and it's your path, it's your practice, and there are improvements or more ease or some discoveries, but you're always just being in contact with that inner energy, whether it's painting, singing, dancing, drumming, whatever it is. So hopefully in the summer we're gonna do a workshop here called Free Your Inner Artist.
Ta-da! Just gonna come on to that.
Oh well.
So tell me, Elon.
Yeah, what are we doing?
What are you doing this year at Osho Leela?
Oh really? Well, just that. Let's just hit that one on the head, because it was there because I was just seeing my fantasies that will be in the marquee, because it will be in July, and I'm really, because when I did that workshop in Pune, it was in the hot Indian sun, and they had an outdoor art studio with shade if you wanted it.
Okay, that sounds like it's going to be like that at Osho Leela.
I'm hoping
hot sun.
It's going to fucking scorch. There'll be no rain, because we never have rain here in the summer. Yeah. But it could be indoors, the marquee. As well, so either or. And just for people to churn out, and I'm still designing, but I'm hoping we'll use other creative modalities in the days as well. Just a bit of dancing, singing, maybe, I don't know, drumming. I haven't fully worked it out yet, but free up the inner energy, but primarily channeling it into paint and paper and canvas. So that's the summer, and I have another, I believe, 2 dates for clown healing. So in April, while we were talking about the clown healing, I feel like I've landed where I'm meant to be with this clown healing at Osho Leela. Leela means play. And it has been such an honor working with you and your whole team, like making the flyer and just visualizing this into being. Like, my God, so we're going to do a couple of weekends where people can come and journey, find their playful part and their playful path. So
it feels really exciting to have it on the calendar, actually, because like you say, Leela is play. And there's been like more, I believe, in the past, like more theatre.
I think years ago, 10, 15 years ago, I remember more.
And it just feels really good. It feels really fresh, and what a beautiful way to go into a healing journey. Through like I said, there might be resistance, but that's sometimes. Sometimes it's like, oh wow, actually no, that feels like something that would be good.
And I'm kind to people. Like in the theatrical world, you can have a bastard acting teacher or clown teacher. I'm not interested in that. I'm like,
from the heart.
From the heart, soft. I'm soft. If you need to, we do lots of processing and sharing and self-reflection is what it's called. Like, oh, what did that exercise bring up? Sort of thing. Yeah. Sometimes people just go, oh, I don't know, mate. Well, just got me near to coffee break, didn't it? He's a Kit Kat. But yeah. So I'm truly on it. I'm so great. I'm so thankful and grateful and really feel very fortunate to be able to even have the possibility to share these things here, because it is, I was in Pune in 1990, 91, beginning of 92 I left. So it's more than 30 years ago. Yeah. And I've been plying my trade out there in the world, driving my van here, there and everywhere. Love, you want a bit of yoga, a bit of drumming, you need a bit of clowning, yeah, come on. I'm too old now. I need to settle up, put my feet, I'm just pop down the road and do it here.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, lovely having you here. Lovely having you part of our family,
Mm.
and super looking forward to what these workshops, at Leela become. And glad to have had you on the podcast, Aelon. I don't even know what the time is.
It's probably Thursday.
Should we have a guess? I reckon it's like
It's supposed to be in the band. I think they've partly gone for
They did
break.
say, so you drum, and that's what you do. Osho meditation retreat.
I'm here,
currently happening.
Yeah.
Probably won't be put out this for a couple of weeks.
If you go back in time, you'll know what we were doing here.
And so multifaceted being weaved into many. You're in the Leela Tantra experience via your art.
Yeah.
In the Osho meditation retreats.
As the drum.
All these things.
But to me, I just see it as a model of energy can flow in different modalities. It's the same energy.
Yeah.
And to me, it's the energy that was liberated through Indian spirituality, whether you call it yoga or Osho's transmutation of Indian spirituality. You free your inner energy and it can take different shapes.
We're a liberated being.
Well, I don't know.
Being
but
on purpose.
Well, I'm exploring that. I'm not anything in particular, but the inner energy, I'm finding my pathways for it to flow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And gifting it back to us.
Yeah, I want for playmates.
Yeah. All right. Nice one.
Thank you.
One, bruv.
In it.
Yeah. I mean, come on now.
Well,
lovely. Wasn't that great, innit?
Yes.
Thank you so much for watching. Aelon is doing these amazing workshops at Osho Leela. Please do check them out. There are all the details on the website. I'm going to also paste a little clip of the videos that we made as well. I'll post that underneath, so please feel free to watch that. And it talks a little bit more about clown healing in a very creative way, I like to think.
Yes.
Collaboration.
We had a good collaboration.
It was really good fun. So please do watch that as well. And if you like the podcast, please do like and subscribe and share it around with anyone else that may benefit. And hopefully get your mum and dad to watch it.
Bring all your parents.
Yeah, parents would be really great to
have. All we want
here.
is controlling parents, seeing your liberated children.
Yeah. Bring all. Should we say goodbye?
Yeah.
Bye.
Adios. Gracias.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Bye, Mum.
Bye.